living here now, I think, and I've told this to Jonathan in a magazine article, but what I feel wonderful is, I would be what, when I arrived here, 57, because I'm 70 now. I arrived here as a complete stranger to this village. I knew nobody in this village. My furniture van arrived. And it's been the acceptance. I don't feel as if I'm the foreigner here. And I think, without blowing one's own trumpet, I think one of the reasons for that is that I'm very adaptable, and I made sure that, I would speak to everybody. I mean, I remember going to Jonathan's mother and saying, where can I buy a bucket and a mop? I need to slightly wash the floors. It was until I'd got settled, then I got a maid. I learned I don't wash floors anymore. And they were just so kind, and she would tell me recipes she was making for Jonathan, and she brought me a couple of things over, and the two sisters next door, Maria and Judah, they would hand me in things, to try this Maltese dish. I just always used to have to say to them, please don't bring me rabbit. Please don't bring me rabbit, which they could never understand. And then I started, I arrived in the September, because by the time I arrived, the feasts were over. But I remember the preparation that the village was getting into for the first feast and the second feast. And I had no sides, as I still have no sides. I put money in all the envelopes. I go to things that they're giving. Well, I haven't been able to for the last couple of years, but this will all be better by the summer. And I was fascinated, because I don't remember too much. I remember a lot of fireworks as a child, but I don't remember ever being taken to a feast. I'm happy here because the people have made me very happy. And I don't find that's changed since I was a child, because I always used to go home to my mother, and she'd say, my mother was very, very Scottish, and an unworldly woman. She'd never travelled in her life. And she'd say to me, what is it like living with these foreigners? And I said, but Mummy, they're not foreigners to me. Everybody's nice to me, people speak with me. The people on the buses, because I loved our old buses. When I was a child, because my father didn't drive, but he had the use of a driver, but he was not a man who abused it. So if it was he and I just going off for a day's shopping in Valletta, or just to have lunch and him to have a beer at the Lantern, we would say to the driver, you can stand down today, because I wanted to go on these buses. And I remember the most fascinating thing I ever saw on a bus, and it was going from Valletta to Marshallschlag. A woman got on the bus, and she had a basket in this hand, and she was holding it very tight. There was 2 chickens looking out of it, and she had a goat under this arm on a bus. And I was shouting to my father, isn't this wonderful? You would never see this. And I immediately wrote home to my mother. I said, people take their chickens and their goats as pets on the buses. It was so exciting. And so therefore, that joy of Malta has never left me, because I still find things like that happen here. Okay, Malta has developed enormously. But when you live in a village, there are still sort of customs, and the warmth of those customs. Like the parish priest, because I haven't been able to walk very much, but I did manage to go to Mass on Ash Wednesday. But Father John comes once a week and gives me communion. Because I can't really bend, and walking the whole way up to the altar. But that's getting better as each day goes by. And there's something wonderfully old-fashioned about that. and people care. You know, when I was in hospital, there was always messages being sent by people. How are you? And when I came out, you know, sometimes I'd have 3 different meals delivered by different women in the village, you know, just in case I was hungry, you know.